Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to the channel, and that channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. I have another pen review, folks. This is my first Hero pen. I trust that most of you have heard of Hero, Chinese brand. I've been tempted, a lot of pens in my cart, but I never pulled the trigger. I think I own one Hero pen that I bought several years ago. Some sort of a vintage, old style pen. I can't even find it anymore, frankly. So I consider this to be my first genuine Hero branded fountain pen. So without any further ado, Fountain Pen Therapy presents the Hero 1086. Check out that nib, folks. It's all about the nib. Okay, so we're back with the pen. This is the box that it comes in. It's got an outer sleeve. And some of you may have seen this already if you follow my weekly recaps. I kind of did a brief unboxing. That's the Hero brand from what I understand. Here's the pen. Comes in this nice hard-cased box. You lift it and you get manual. You get some kind of a guarantee card. It's all in Chinese with a bunch of cartridges, so that's always nice. Long cartridges on top of that, not the short ones. So that's the box. We'll put that aside. And here is the pen, folks. So far, pretty classy and classic looking pen. A little bit on the slim side, I would say to you. I love that gold trimming, the gold trimming on the clip, and a little bit on the finial there, top finial. It's kind of a matte color. You can see that on the clip there is the Hero logo. Is this a spring-loaded? No, it's not. Stiff, but fairly usable. I would say to you, it's functional. And then you've got the logo on top there as well. Nice touch. It kind of reminds me of the Scrivener pens, and we'll take a look at the comparisons. That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this pen. On the band, it's a nice decorated band. There is, again, it's so small. There are some Chinese words there, and then there's Hero with the brand. And I've got the number, 1086, which is always very nice if you see the number. The bottom finial is just a gold, shiny, small finial. This is a cartridge converter, so that top finial doesn't do anything. It is a cartridge converter. That's essentially it. The rest is, I think it's a metal pen, and it's covered by some sort of resin, I would say to you, or acrylic or plastic, whatever the expression is there. Very slim. Not as slim as a Targa, a Schaefer Targa, but slim. And we'll take a look at some pen comparisons in a minute. So let's take a look. That's the outside, essentially. Let's take a look at how many turns. Excuse me, that's my sneeze. Let's start that all over again. I apologize. I tried to. Well, what am I doing? It doesn't turn anyway. This is a snap cap. I apologize. I was wondering why it wasn't turning. Sorry about that. It's a snap. Very satisfying snap. Seems pretty solid. And that's what this pen is all about. There it is. It's a nib, and that nib has got this steel plate of sorts right on top, as you can see. And when you turn the section here, that steel plate or piece of metal goes up and down, and it's supposed to, of course, control the softness of the nib. And we'll see how all that works in a minute. I like the section because it does have that matte finish that you see on top of the as part of the finial and the clip. So that makes it very classy looking pen. Now the size of this nib is a little bit, I think it's a number 5 size nib, although sometimes you wonder if it's a number 6. Plastic feed. And one thing that they recommend is that you not ink the pen, apparently. I saw another reviewer, I think it's Uncapped. You should not ink the pen like you normally do by dipping into the ink bottle, the entire section, and turning the converter. I think the instructions tell you to fill the converter otherwise. I think one of the reasons is because you don't want to get ink in that mechanism, because the mechanism is meant to turn. And I got to tell you, my mechanism is really hard. And I don't even know if I'll be able to do it on camera. Once you get it going, it kind of turns, but to get it going, like I'm really turning and I cannot get that section to turn. I'll try it again on camera. If not, I'm going to go off camera. You see, I can't get it to turn. So it's a gadget that at the end of the day is not bad, but to get it to turn. So I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to try to do something with this, but it just goes to show you that it's not anything like the Justice from what I can see. Okay, I think I got it. I don't know if it's kind of tightened on me or it needs some, I don't know how to lubricate, but you could see now it's turning. So the plate is about halfway, I would say. If I turned it all the way, and I apologize for my hand trimmer. Here we go. That's all the way up. You can see that? And if we turn it the other way, if I can get this thing to turn. Okay, here we go. I mean, folks, just this is getting on my nerves. But as you can see, it's all the way down. We'll leave it down because we'll start with that setting. And it goes up and down. And of course, when it's at the lower position like this one, the nib is meant to be softer. And when it's all the way up, the nib writes like a harder nib. And we'll see about line variation in a second. But that's essentially, and as I mentioned, it's a cartridge converter. Metal interior, metal on metal. Let's take a look at what's in that cap. Let me get my flashlight. Okay. Yeah, there's a plastic liner with a little bit of an indent there that's meant to keep it from drying. So the band does go right to the top, so there's no exposed piece here. And in any event, it's all metal, so it's not as if you're dealing with fragile resin. So there you have it. Nothing extravagant about anything else. But that's essentially, that's it. That's it for the pen. I think It's all in that nib, and we'll take a look at how that nib performs in a second. First, we'll do some pen comparisons. Okay, so I'm back with a couple of pens. I've included a Safari. A lot of you have been constantly suggesting that I use the Safari as kind of a base so that everybody, especially those who are beginners, can appreciate where it stands in terms of size. I will try to remember that. I just don't like the Safari. I think they're a very boring pen in my estimation, and I always like to show off the pens that I have. But so you'll bear with me if I forget. But there's the Safari, and maybe we'll replace it right away with something else and satisfy my therapy as well as the viewers' suggestions. There's the subject pen. Here's the Scrivener. I don't know what number this is, but it's the standard size. Slightly smaller, but you could see generally the same idea. Sorry about that. I had to sneeze. Okay, there's the Safari. Slightly, almost the same size as the Safari. The Safari is a little girthier, I would say. Here is the Hongdian Black Forest Max. Similar size. This is the Aurora 88, and this is a Pilot 743, so you could see how that all fits in. If I replace the Safari with my Aurora Talentum, so very similar in terms of design. Well, there are differences, but the classic black with gold trimmings, except my Aurora Talentum is much girthier, I would say to you. So those are the pens uncapped, if you will. Okay, we're back with the pens uncapped and unposted. You can see it's a nice size, a little smaller than the Aurora 88 and the Pilot 743. Similar size to the Hongdian Black Forest Max, and much bigger than the Scrivener, a little bit smaller than the Lamy Safari. Now, if we post all these pens, and I just want to make sure I get them all right. Some post better than others, and that's another reason why I don't use the Safari, because when you post it, it's just ridiculously long, and there goes the entire comparison. But having said that, I know you're many to suggest that, so the Scrivener doesn't post very well, but there you have it. The subject pen posts very nicely, thank you very much. In fact, we can cover the comfort right now. You could see it is a little bit back weighted, I would say to you. So the pen is comfortable. It is a little back weighted, I would say to you, because of that heavy, it is a metal heavy cap, but it caps really nicely. And at the end of the day, I think the weight kind of pushes towards the paper, so you're okay. Now, can we write without it? Absolutely. The size of the pen is nice. It's a nice size. Slimish on the section, but that section is not slippery at all. It's very, very well done, by the way. Other than this turning mechanism on that most important part of this pen, I would say to you, is just awful. You almost need a wrench to turn the thing. It should. Now, is it just my pen? You see now, it's stuck again. I just can't get it to turn. And once it dislodges, then you can get it to turn. But to get it to turn is just a real mess. But having said that, we'll take a look at the nib itself and how it writes in a second, because that really is why I purchased this pen, right? And maybe it'll surprise us. I hope so. So there you have it in terms of pen comparisons, size comparisons, and the comfort of the pen. I suggest that we look at the measurements and then we do that writing sample and get to the real crux of this pen, and hopefully it won't disappoint. Be right back. Okay, so we're back for the writing sample. First things first, the ink I put in that pen is bluish gray Hongdian, one of my favorite inks, by the way. And here's the swatch for the ink. Where is it? Hongdian bluish gray. It's really I would say to you a blue, a black blue, or a blue black. Very nice ink, very wet, very nice, very, very nice. So that'll be the ink that we're going to be using. Okay, so we're all set. This is the Hero 1086. The nib is a Hero. I believe it's Hero. It's a Hero nib. I don't think it's a German nib of any sort, although I got to tell you, the main structure of that nib looks suspiciously like a Schmidt nib. So that's Hero adjustable nib, I guess is the way that I would phrase it. The ink is the Hongdian bluish gray. Now I can tell you that the nib is definitely soft. I don't know if you could see this. See how much it bends. So you do get a little bit of line variation, but you end up also railroading it if you push too much, in which case it does act like a little bit like a flex nib in that regard. So very soft, whoop, too much, very soft with a, small flex. So it's a little more than just a springy nib. It's soft and flexy, if you know what I mean. So that's fast writing. There is a little bit of a skip here and there with that nib. And I've noticed that there may be even more when you pull that adjustable sheet, metal sheet, way to the top. So in terms of consistency, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's a very smooth nib. Hardly any feedback. It's, very wet. Reverse writing, yeah. Pretty good, actually. A little scratchy, but it writes. Then I think what we should do, I'll go off camera again and try to pull that adjustable sheet of metal all the way to the top, and we'll take a look at what difference it is in terms of writing experience. Okay, so I'm back. So as you can tell now, it's all the way on top, all the way to the top. Let's see what difference it gives. So, yeah, much stiffer. You can see the flex here. It's still flexy, but not as much. I think that in terms of width of the line. So the line, in terms of line, I would say it's very similar. I don't see a big difference, except that when it's softer, it's the writing experience that's very different. Because one gives you that softness and the other one gives you that rigidity. So the writing experience is where I think you can notice the difference. In terms of line variation, I'm getting the same width here with the soft mode on, and this is the hard mode. There's very little difference between those 8s and that 8, if you will, okay? So I'm not sure there's a major difference in terms of line. Very, very similar. It's just it's very smooth. It doesn't change. Consistency, it skips once in a while, but generally pretty good. It's also, very wet as well. In that regard, there's really very little difference, I would say to you. So there you have it. It's the writing experience that changes. So don't expect to get this change, drastic change in terms of line width. It's really the writing experience. One is soft, the other one is more rigid. Likes and dislikes, it skips once in a while. I don't know why, but it does. Some skipping, just some. I don't want to exaggerate it, but you saw that. Sometimes it's me, but very, very little. I don't want to mislead you there. Likes, I mean, it's a fun pen. I do like the writing experience and the difference between the two. I mean, the build quality is not bad at all. The design, pretty ordinary, so I'm not going to say it's a like. The dislike is the adjust knob, I guess I would call it. It just doesn't work properly. Not at all. If I have to struggle with that every time, the fact that you can't, you got to ink the converter almost like an eyedropper, I think is a dislike. And I think the price. I don't think, folks, that this pen is worth the price, and I'll put the price up just to give you the latest on the screen. I really don't think it's worth the dollars. At the end of the day, do I recommend this pen? Recommend. I'd give it a very shy 7.5. Frankly, I think there are other Chinese pens that you should be getting before this one. Is it a go-to? Yeah. It's a go-to pen in the sense that, it's very classy looking. You're not going to be embarrassed around using this pen as being too over the top. It's good build quality. And it writes fairly well, okay? So I'm not, it does skip once in a while, but by far the writing is very smooth. But do you get that same smoothness with other nibs? Yeah. Is the gadget worth the money? Personally, no. I don't think that I am able to give you just a positive recommendation. Go out, folks, and buy it. No. I think if you're curious and you can afford it, go for it and see for yourself. But if you have other priorities, I would choose other priorities. That's my review. So there you have it. The Hero, my first Hero pen. Looking forward to ordering more just to see what gives. One of the things that I noticed about Hero, most of their pens are kind of these metal, what I would say the old Chinese way of, making pens with that big metal body and then some acrylic covering. So there's nothing wow about this pen. I was hoping that nib would just blow me away. It hasn't. And one thing is for sure, I mean, if the mechanism doesn't turn, easily, you've got to, step back. If you're in an office, you don't want to get your fingers full of ink. You got to turn the thing. It doesn't turn properly. Now, is it just my pen that's not working? Perhaps. But you know what? Mine is not working. This is the pen I'm reviewing. So, folks, it's a very, very, it's a no. It's a no. It's a no. don't go out of your way to buy this thing. I don't think it's worth the money. There you have it. It's a fun pen. I have it in my collection, but will I be using it often? I doubt it. I really doubt it. Take care, folks. There are nicer pens out there that are coming, and this is not one of them. Ciao. Have a great week. Enjoy your pens, fountain pen therapy, and be good and be well.